Welcome back, everybody. I'm continuing with the Winchester segment. Got my gloves back on because I don't like touching one of these guns that I have in my collection here. It's already been featured, actually. One is my the second Japanese firearm I have in my collection. It's I only have two Japanese Winchesters, and this one is the second. And the first one, as I said, has already been featured in a video, and that's my original 1892. And we'll take a quick look at it. This one was my great uncle's, handed down to my grandfather. Sounds like my heater's about to kick on, so pardon the noise. Then my grandfather handed it down to my father, and my father handed it down to me. So this one was built, let me check my notes, 1914 is the build date. This is in 3220. So there we have, it's an original, I believe it was known as the sporting rifle. But I wanted to show you a quick look at it so you could see what an original Winchester 1892, remind you what it looks like, and compared to a modern interpretation from Japan looks like. This, of course, is quite a bit different firearm than the modern one, with its octagon barrel and then the 3220 caliber. I remember hunting with this rifle with my father, uncle, and cousin on the ranch. Fox, coyote, bobcat, that sort of thing. Reasonably good shape, but it has been used. It's actually got a broken part on the stock right here. Been nailed back together at some point in its life, but I'm not going to change a thing on this firearm. Too much sentimental and historical value to really mess with at all. So there's an original one. Absolutely no safety whatsoever, and a non-rebounding hammer. Does have a half cock, of course, and of course these firearms have all been checked. This gun fires just as sweet as any other firearm in my collection. Very smooth, crisp action. Of course, this is the Browning design. Now we have the new locking bolts that come up into the bolt, or locking blocks into the bolt there. So we can see we've gotten away from the Henry toggle design, much stronger design. The 1892 is just a follow-up to the 1886, and the 1886 was the first Browning design, and then they wanted to go use that fine design for these lightweight pistol calibers. So they built another lightweight firearm based on that great design of John Browning's, and we're completely away from the Henry era now into the Winchester era. So let me grab the Japanese version of it, and you can see, as I say, the Japanese do make this called the Trapper version. Very short barrel. As you can see, we can just about get this whole one in the picture. It's so short, quite a bit shorter than the sporting rifle I just had. Again, this one is a fairly good wood. It's not bad, rather straight grain. Again, Japan's excellent bluing on this. If you see my last video, you can see how impressed I am with their bluing. The brass bead front sight. But I wanted one that I could fire without harming the old 3220. This one's in 45 Colt, but basically the same firearm with a couple of modern differences. Number one, built in Japan. Again, it's got the roll mark, made by Moruku, Japan, imported by BACO Incorporated, and Winchester's a registered trademark of the Olin Corporation. printed right on it. So again, is this a replica or a real Winchester? Well, it's at least a Winchester in name, again, as I said before. It has the same very smooth action. In fact, it's a little smoother than my old original one, but very similar. These do have a safety on them, a tang mounted safety. They moved it here. They did have a cross bolt safety in it, and we'll see that on the next installment, but they moved it to the tang, which is a better placement. But on a firearm that originally had a half cock, as we saw on the other one, which was your safety, or the one between your ears, a considerably different design, as we can see. This also has a rebounding hammer that the original did not have, as we can see. All adds up to a much safer firearm, but and one I'm not afraid to shoot at all, because it does, to me, the Japanese guns will never have the collector value of an original Winchester made in the United States. So I wanted you to be able to see an original Winchester and a Japanese modern one side by side. This is a very modern, recent production firearm, as we can tell with the tang mounted safety. Very difficult if you wanted to add a tang sight onto this. Makes it very difficult, as I had on my previous Winchester that we saw, that I had the marble sight mounted on. I think it can be done, but it's not very fun to do. We can see the Winchester roll mark on it. So there we go. The next in line in the Browning, first Browning design, with again Henry out of the picture completely now, not even his design anymore. It's pure Winchester in name and in function, with Browning's help, of course, the father of many of our American firearms. So we'll move on to the next, which happens to be my last Winchester firearm next in this series, and hope you're enjoying it. Thanks a lot for watching.